And now we are recording. Yay!
Yay!
I'm with the amazing Michelle Nilson in Ireland. And Michelle is an amazing being creating nature essences. So she creates vibrational essences by listening and being super present with the nature and flowers and elementals itself. And her essences are called light essence elementals, and we're gonna have a wonderful time just sharing and hearing Michelle tell us more about all of this amazing connection that we can have with nature, and how important it is at a time like now to be connected, to return to a balance with nature. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Anouk. Thank you. It's lovely to see you again. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, just for the people listening at some point later, Michelle and I have been friends, and we met in Ireland, and it was through me really feeling called to use essence, and particularly an essence that I could use in the Great Pyramid of Giza in Cairo. And it was an amazing time to be using the essence. I think it was 2018 when we did a ceremony, and we used a tiny little drop, but very, very potent in the Great Pyramid. And the essence was dreaming a new world.
Yes, and I actually sprayed that before we did before we came on to the call today. And I'd almost forgotten about that, but I was so honored that you took that to the Great Pyramid, because I've never been there before. I've always felt a bit of a calling, but I was going, oh my gosh, that it was just this deep welling of emotion that it was going to the pyramid, for you to use. And I was so was so excited that was going there. So thank you for taking it there.
Of course. Tell us about the connection with nature, and how can we attune to nature?
I've been having this conversation a lot with people lately, because we are as a human race, we want to feel connected. We want to feel, and that connection has been a bit interrupted at the moment. So I believe, going out into nature and really connecting in whatever ways you can with it, to be present in that space where we should always be connected. We've lost our connection, years back when we decided to be separate, from all of nature, and with the Native Americans, who I was very lucky to be, tutored, and, they gave me a lot of their wisdom in the late 90s and early 2000s. They shared that, we are all related. Every aspect of nature, we are all related to. And at this moment, one of the tiniest bits of nature, which is a virus, is catching our attention, and asking us to awaken and become more present to what is going on around us. And it's not about money, and it's not about possessions, and it's not about, status or greed or any of those things. It's about love, and it's about being able to feel connected to, what is actually around us in nature. And that includes the animals, the trees, the birds, the grass, the blades of grass, the Mother Earth, Father Sky, and our physical connection to every bit of that. And, you know, the web of life, the strand that we hold in it, that, you know, that we actually create this lovely tapestry when we're connected to this, this larger picture, which is, you know, the actual reality, which is, you know, our sovereignty and our beauty as our spirit, being able to, you know, to be in this world in a way that is always connected to spirit. And I think what I'm witnessing in my conversations, my daily life, is that people are starting to understand in some ways how important this is. I'm noticing more people out in nature. I'm actually seeing people taking the time to actually sit and be present, to not just rush through life. And, you know, now there is that's still going on, but that a lot of people have kind of said, okay, I should really kind of sit here and just not, you know, have any agenda, you know, just sit here and say, what does nature want from me today? How can I serve in this way? So when I go out, I'm constantly speaking to all the plants and nature around me as my relatives. And I say, you know, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your beauty. Thank you for your sustenance. Thank you for feeding us. Thank you for, you know, this wonderful rain that makes the earth green and helps the plants to grow. And thank you to Grandfather Sun for the vitamin D that our body needs to, you know, prosper and live and have a healthy immune system. And so once you start, you know, having that conversation, then things start, nature responds. And I'm sure you've had this experience at Nuke where all of a sudden these things start happening. You know, a messenger comes from nature, and, you know, you get the confirmations of, you know, you're being heard, because you're actually honoring and respecting a member of your family, you know, that they're actually responding to you in that way. So when I go and I work with the essences, I'm actually having a conversation with that flower and asking it, does it want to be, you know, medicine for those who need it? You know, what does it have to say at an energetic level for a person who might need that medicine at an energetic level? So yeah, so it's interesting, like when you start having those conversations, what comes through, and then, you know, the feedback that you might get from somebody who's taking an essence, that this is what happened to them when they were actually having the experience of physically ingesting the essence. So yeah, so there's a lot of, I think, people needing to get back to nature. That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way you explain that it is a reciprocity between us and nature, and that we're not separate from it. And
Yes.
it takes us this to choose to be still and to say, as you mentioned, to just sit here and be with nature, and also that we can also speak to nature. So it's a two-way conversation.
Exactly.
And just for the people that don't know what essence is, and to hold the frequency in an essence, because you're talking about ingesting it, so maybe some people don't know about that.
Yes. So flower essences, a lot of people would be very familiar with Bach flower essences. Now it's gone back many years into history. There were a lot of things that people did with flowers. You know, they placed it in the water and then they would place it on people, including the Aboriginals, the Egyptians, Hildegard Budbingen, I think is how you say her name. She was a nurse back in, you know, I think it was the 16th or 17th century. And she was actually using cloth that she would put on the dew of the flowers. And she would take that dew of the flowers on the cloth and she would place it on people to help heal their bodies and their emotions and their mental states. So the thing that Edward Bach did is he went and he did what I was just explaining. He would go to the flowers and the trees and he would ask what they wanted to convey to a person. So what he would do is he would put in a glass bowl of water, he would put, you know, some spring water, and then he would ask the plant to supply flowers to the bowl. So he would cut those flowers in a ceremonial way and he would put them in the water and he would ask the plant to imprint that frequency, that information into the bowl of water so that it could help somebody with their mental, emotional, or spiritual ailments, basically. So he did that, and there are 39 essences that that he created by doing that. And now, because of what he pioneered, so many other essences are provided around the world now. So you can pretty much find on every continent that there are essences being made from those different environments. And the different environments are also very important as well, because, you know, the desert, you might find very hardy essences, you know, where, you know, something has to survive and it might only flower for one day. And then you've got the essences like here in Ireland, where the energy is so mystical and vibrant and fairy-like and elemental. And so different essence ranges have different frequencies and vibrations, and different people will actually vibrate to different essence ranges and, you know, respond to them very well. So I'm not sure if I
Thank
answered
you.
that question very well.
Yes,
but yeah.
yes, thank you. Yeah, so it is possible for, I mean, maybe this is a question. Is it possible for anybody to get close to nature and then ask nature for its medicine, whatever it may be that one needs in the moment?
Definitely.
Right?
Yes, definitely. And that's
So
the
this is
thing,
super
like,
important to remember.
yes. And there's a lot of people, if they would look back to their childhood, they would probably remember their times out in nature very prominently, you know, as a child, because it was such a magical place to be for most children. So you may remember that you were very attracted to, let's say, a certain flower, or a certain tree, or a certain body of water, or a certain animal, and those are the things that are our allies, you know, in this life. And, you know, as
I love
adults,
that word.
yeah, because
Allies.
I really do believe that they're here as our allies, because, you know, they provide so much for us. And there is a reciprocity, you know, that happens. I mean, if you look at the trees alone, the oxygen they provide to this planet is, you know, is what keeps us alive, keeps all of the planet, you know, providing wonderful oxygen and air to breathe. So this, you know, just that one level of looking at things, you know, it's amazing. And then you have all the other beings that provide their service and in different ways. And as you said before, you know, I think we started the call, there's an out of balance thing that's happening, and it's showing up in so many ways through nature at the moment. And we can all see, like at the very beginning of when this was all happening and everybody was in lockdown, and, you know, the nature started coming back in different areas, and how it happened so quickly. Like people were very, like, you know, in Venice, like the dolphins showing up in the canals within 2 weeks, and they were so clear. And I think that's the thing that we don't realize, that nature will always come back in some form. Or, you know, it's just that we've lost that connection. We've lost, well, I shouldn't say we've, a lot of people have lost the connection. So that is where I really feel like we have to come back into that.
Yes. And this is, I think, the wake up call at a time like now. You know, we are in the year 2020 and so much is happening around us, but it is a wake up call to create balance and to find ways to, you know, change our lives and return to taking our shoes off. And as you say, you know, choosing to just be there for a minute and connect and feel like what you were sharing about, you know, the childlike excitement of being in nature. And I'm sure everybody will recall a memory of being out and having that feeling of being nurtured and protected and maybe even entertained in nature. So absolutely, I feel we need to get back there. We need to get back there to that point of being excited about being alive and being excited about being with nature, and most of all to remember that we have to honor nature again, and to be the balance, to watch what's around us and become more of the balance. Because the way I see it, everything is in balance except us humans.
Exactly. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, because nature will always balance itself out. Yes.
Yeah. So we have a lot to learn.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, you know, part of, you know, what you're doing, Anouk, with the 108 Days project as well, it's actually a good thing. You know, like when you're out in nature as well, like what I find myself doing, and I thank you for reminding me about this, because a lot of times my brain is just so firing off in so many different directions. But what I try to do during the day is I actually, somewhere in nature, I just try to sit and not have any agenda, not have any thoughts running through my mind. I just try to be present, you know, and just really not have any demands on myself, have any demands on nature, have any, you know, it's like this, I just need this time to sit still. And so I've been doing that a lot more, and just really kind of saying, okay, I'm just gonna sit now and just be. And so, so that's been lovely, you know, that I know other people are also doing that out there. So, yeah.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit about the magic of Ireland and the elementals, because I'm sure so many would want to know.
Oh gosh, it's an amazing place. I was born in the United States, but my mother is Irish, and I have a lot of Irish connection through my father as well. But I moved here back in 2012, and the landscape, the mythology, the nature itself, when you go out, it really is just absolutely, it's hard to describe. There is a mystical feeling And then there's also a very, in a different way, because I've felt this in the United States as well, in different places. But here, it's like the land still carries so much memory of people, you know, interacting with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only been in the last, you know, maybe 50 or so odd years that, you know, things have changed from, because people used to name their fields, you know, there used to be a name for every plant that you came upon and how it would be used, you know, in your daily life, or if it was poisonous to the animals, or, you know, there were so many ways that people interacted with the nature around them here in Ireland, and it still can be felt. You know, especially you hear all the stories about the fairy forts and the different areas that are really magical, and so you can feel that presence. And people
Mm-hmm.
are honoring, a lot of people are honoring and saying, oh, we won't cut that tree, even though it's in the middle of our very prosperous field. We're going to leave that tree because that's the fairy tree, you know. So there's still a lot of respect for the elemental energies here. And so when you go out onto the land, in many places, the elementals are very present, and you can feel it, and they respond in a lot of different ways to you communicating with them. So I
Wonderful.
love to make the essences with this energy, because it's just so, it just happens so easily, you know, with the imprint of the water through the elemental energies. And you're just feeling very honored to be a part of that process, and to just at the basic part of it, to know that you're being supported by these energies. And it's almost like you feel like you're being called home to yourself,
I
I suppose
love
is,
that.
yeah. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So it's a really, just like, my heart just is so expansive when
Mm-hmm.
I'm out in the nature here. So.
Oh, thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing about the magic of really coming into union with nature. And I love to see nature through your eyes, and to see how much you love and how much you honor all the life around you. So thank you for this time together, and thank you so much for creating the essences which are so powerful. And so if somebody wants to connect with you, or perhaps have a session with you, I know you do the nature essence alchemy sessions. How do they
Yes.
find you?
Well, at the moment, my website is being built, and will probably be online within the next month. So, so that will be one way to access, and that's going to be naturesessencealchemy.com. And right now, I've got a Facebook page for Nature's Essence Alchemy and my Light Essence Elementals. And I also have my Instagram account, which is Nature's Essence Alchemy as well. And there are links to all the essences, and to the actual consultations as well. So I'd be happy to work with anybody who wants to work with that energy. So, and thank you, Anouk, for providing such a wonderful connection for people, and for bringing your own lovely energy to everything you do. So.
We are doing it together.
Yes,
We're
yes. And
doing it
that's so
together.
important, that everybody
Yeah.
stays connected at this time. even if it's through
Absolutely.
this web of life.
Absolutely. And may everybody be inspired by this conversation to just go out in the garden or your little pot plant and talk to
Yes.
nature and play out there, become the child again.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Thank you so much. It was
Uh,
wonderful speaking with you,
Thank you so much, Anouk.
Michelle. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Lots
you
of
for all
love.
your wisdom. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you, Anouk. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.